I hope everybody had a sumptuous high tea. Now we move on to our next session, which is based on process automation, automation. And to deliver that, we have two experts, Sayan Chowdhury and my friend Abhishek Biswas. Sayan is an experienced professional with a decade of experience in the field of digital transformation technologies. His focus areas include RPA, cloud computing, data analytics, machine learning, IoT. Currently, he holds the position of RPA Solution Architect and Practice Head at RSM US India, specializing in UiPath automation. His primary responsibilities involve creating intelligent automation solutions for control testing, user access reviews, segregation of duties analytics, internal audit, ERP audit, ITGC. He leverages tools such as Alteryx, UiPath, Power Platform, AIPath, and Python to achieve these goals. Assisting him will be Abhishek Biswas. He is an independent senior cyber and AI risk consultant. He has done his B from Computer Science Engineering Division in Jadavpur University. He is an ex-PwC, EY alum, and he has worked with the government as well. He has 9+ years in experience in risk automation, cybersecurity advisory, and has 3 years of plus experience as a government awarded startup founder. He is a certified blockchain expert, digital design automation, ISO 27001 certified UI expert. I request Abhishek and Sayan to please join me, and I request Tiyali ma'am and Subroto sir to hand the mementos to them. Now, without wasting much time, Sayan, Abhijit, floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you everyone.
Hello, hello. I think it's audible. It's audible, right? Yeah.
Yes. I think we can get started. Our previous speakers have already provided everyone an overview of what RPA is. You might have an understanding of the RPA and its capabilities and its applications. So, even if they have covered most of the points, we would try to make this session very interactive, and we'll try to provide you some actual use cases that we have implemented in the industries and how it is impacting the different industries and the different domains where the automations are placed. So we'll try to make it as interactive as possible. If anyone has any questions, feel free to stop us and you can ask your questions. So before we start with the theoretical part that we have covered in our previous session, a lot of applications, we will now start with by seeing an actual live use case that has been implemented in the industry, and this is currently functioning. Abhishek will give a background of what the requirement for this use case is, and then I can walk you through the automation and how it is integrating and interacting with different applications across different infrastructure, and how it is doing auditing, like it's basically doing control testing end to end using automation. So over to you, Abhishek.
Thank you. So good evening everyone. So first of all, AWS is something all you have heard, Amazon Web Services, and here's something, and there's something what you do as auditors here and as security personnel here. We are much into the audits of that. We audit it we audit it by our SOC compliances, SOC 1, SOC 2, and whatever there is. SOC 3 sometimes comes in, SOC cyber security. Then the CCM matrix, that also comes in. So in these use cases, there are a lot of controls which deals with the configuration testing of the AWS accounts or of the AWS service. So here it's a lot of manual work, but believe me, there's a lot of monitoring also involved here, which in audit terms we call it continuous monitoring. So this continuous monitoring, we say in hundreds of standards in almost every ISO standard that's mentioned, particularly in the 27 category. But continuous monitoring, does it really happen, or is it just a sign, or will it only happen actually if you practically automate it. I believe the later on is the correct here. So we'll show you a use case where we are, like before going in details, what we have done is we have used Python, UiPath and Python, UiPath, SQL, and of course our visualization software, which in this case is Tableau, it may be something else, doesn't matter, to get a real-time update of the controls. So mind it, this is a control monitoring and a control testing tool, and both at the same time. Like the other one you can get from the other one, it's like vice versa, and you can get a real-time update. So the whole year you can see that when it is fluctuated, you can get a data and all of it, and everything of this is automated. And trust me, almost all of the configuration testing can be automated. And the main part here, the main catch is here, that about the more technical details Shayan will tell you, but the main part is that this remains unattended, this is easy, this is cheap, and this is scalable. So that is where the catch is, and that's what is the need of the future. So Shayan, can you?
One of the things that you missed, it is real time. So whenever you use configuration testing, it might be once a quarter, once every 6 months. But here, whenever you are using automation, it can be done on a real-time basis. So whenever you have any controls failing, you would be notified that some of your controls has failed, so that people can go inside and see why that particular controls has failed. So without further ado, we'll start the video recording of that automation. So we are basically doing, so this is the Python code that integrates AWS using APIs to get the configuration data. We could have done it superficially, logging into the system. This what you see is the UiPath interface where the bot is actually created. We will go more into the UiPath interface and show you how easy it is to adapt automation and how easy it is to create an automation, so that to understand the power of automation, and it does not require any prior experience or any coding knowledge to be able to automate things. And that is where we are trying to preach that automation is not only for developers, it's also for people who are actually doing the field work. So basically what it's doing is, like, it's going into AWS, it is getting the configuration for different accounts. Some of the information is redacted because it's client sensitive data, but it is actually running scripts. Whatever you see is done autonomously by the bot. There is no human intervention, and it is run unattended in a virtual machine at a particular time of a day. So you don't need any human intervention. Whenever there is any failure, the bot would notify you via email, via notification that something has failed. You can also keep a track of what is the status of your controls environment in a dashboard. So you can see it is running all the codes, everything that you see is happening is being done autonomously by the bots, and they are basically filling the work papers as well. So no need to do anything. The work papers with all the information and even the testing, what are the configuration parameters that, and it is doing for multiple systems. So you see it has completed the testing for a huge number of accounts, and if I go to the output file, it has created the output file for the different accounts that it has tested, and what are the control tests that it has done. You can see it has it has a specific naming convention for the different control testing. So if I open one of the control testing, you would see how the wallpapers are populated. This population is also being done by the bot itself, using, like, we do have a template, but based on all the different parameters, it would automatically go inside the wallpapers and fill out the wallpapers. So, and this can be circulated to the client directly. You don't have any human intervention at any point of time. Previously this used to take a longer time, but with this automation it is drastically reduced. You can see this is the CCM monitoring dashboard. So whatever it has tested, it has put in the dashboard, and you can see the status, how many of the controls has passed, how many has failed. If you want to, like, do some filtering on certain controls, like how many of them pass, which are the controls that is getting failed, you get all the information centralized in this dashboard. So without
CCM means cloud control metrics, right?
Yes, this is the cloud control metrics.
So because there are like 130 plus controls, the CCM.
So
right?
if you had done it manually, it would have taken you, say, more than 200-300 hours to generate the work papers. There could have been manual, so whenever you're doing it manually, there could have been manual errors. But whenever you're doing this automated, there is almost no chances of error as long as you have provided proper exception handling and everything into the form. This is just giving you the confirmation of how we can filter based on different parameters just to check the health of the controls environment. So this was just to give you an overview before we started going into the nitty-gritties of automation. We wanted to show you what automation is capable of, so that you understand its capabilities and you can relate to the field that you people are currently working in.
You are customizing it or you are creating fresh? Pardon? You have customized it or
This is created from scratch, like everything. So there are different layers. The first layer is the extraction part. We used UiPath and Python. Python is integrating with APIs to get the configuration data. After that, it is used. Python is also doing the data transformation. In certain cases, we use Alteryx for the data transformation. And for the dashboard, here we have used Tableau. There are other tools in the market as well, but the entire thing is created by our us and our team. It's there is nothing pre-built that we used. It's like we used the tools, but the entire architecture was created from scratch. So the requirement gathering, connected to the different systems, everything. So that is a use case, and we will show you how you people can also implement such automations without having to go through a lot of coding experiences and having a lot of software development background. At the current stage, the way the tools are designed, it is very user friendly, it is very easy to adopt, and nowadays organizations are moving towards citizen-led development. Previously, it used to be centralized. So whenever you have any automation idea, you are doing some repetitive work on a recurring basis. So you have to go to a certain team and you have to provide the idea. There is generally a center of excellence for automation, and they used to interact with different departments, see what are the use cases that they had, and they prioritized and created certain automations. Now the industry is moving towards citizen-led development, where they are giving the power of automation to end users, for people who actually does the field work, so that you don't need to rely on a separate team to be able to automate certain tasks that you can do yourself. Obviously, for more complicated tasks, you have to go to the specialized team. But for simple tasks, for your day-to-day tasks, you might be doing certain simple Excel reconciliations. It is pretty easy for you to create an automation for yourself, and you don't have to rely on others for you to be able to do that automation. So we'll go back to the slide. There are certain, so before we start, obviously, Chirag has given a brief introduction about ourselves. Just to add a few things, I come from a mechanical engineering background, just to give you some confidence that I too did not have any prior programming knowledge. But being from a mechanical engineering background, the way the entire ecosystem of RPA is created, it has provided me the opportunity to understand and implement automation without even having the programming background that generally CS and IT people have. So I am currently functioning as a manager. I am leading the automation analytics practice from the India region. Most of our clients are based out of US, and we do a lot of automations for our US clients. RSM, some of you might be knowing, RSM is one of the largest professional services company. This comes after the Big Four. This is the 5th largest professional services company in the world, and we are also expanding in India as well. So the most of the projects that comes to us are from US. Banking is a gold mine for automation use cases. We have a lot of banking clients, we have a lot of financial services clients, and there are like automation is something that is sector agnostic, domain agnostic. You can implement automation in anywhere and everywhere as long as you have a clarity of what you want to automate. As I told you, I am a mechanical engineer. I did my post-graduation in data science, and I also did my executive MBA from IIM Lucknow. I used to work for Capgemini and PwC, and currently I am working with RSM, and it has been 10 years in the industry now. So, yeah, that is a brief introduction about me. I'll give a chance to Abhishek.
I don't think that we should waste much time here, but the thing is, I'm associated with ISACA since a long time, and I'm a 2016 pass out of Jadavpur University, like the dear guys, from the Department of Computer and Engineering. And just one thing that I'll tell you is that he's from mechanical, I am from computer. But when I'll tell you a brief story of us, how we connected with each other, and we are friends because of RPA. When I'll tell you that story, you'll find that it was the reverse. It was not that he coming to me with the business with the technical proposals. It was the reverse. I was going to him with the technical proposals that okay, build something for me. It was the reverse one. So yeah, technical knowledge, too much of computer science knowledge or something else, IT knowledge is not needed if you want to develop RPA or if you want to develop solutions using RPA. And we'll show you today that how can you develop মানে আপনিও এখানে বসে একটা ল্যাপটপ নিয়ে আপনিও করতে পারবেন RPA. That is the target of today's session, and we have around 1 hour, maybe less than 1 hour with us, but with that time we'll try to show you that. And yeah, about myself, that's that. I কিছু বলতে হবে না. I am like 9 years of experience close to I have. I have worked with PwC, UI, Productivity Kuwait, and blah blah. Leave it. The next slide. Not needed.
So this is a brief agenda. I will not spend much time. RPA, everyone by now knows what RPA is. Our previous speakers have given a lot of insights in RPA and their applications and use cases. We'll spend a little time on the benefits so that you understand why you people should adopt RPA and what are the benefits that you can expect out of RPA. RPA as a product, we'll discuss on the different alternatives that you have in the RPA space. RPA has been in the market for the last quite some time now, so we have got a lot of competitors in the market as well. But we will give you the actual scenario in the market, which are the actual market leaders in RPA, and we will dig deeper into the market leader, which is UiPath. You must have heard the name in the previous session as well. A lot of our previous speaker has emphasized the application and usability of UiPath, and UiPath is a very user-friendly tool which has got a very good user experience, so you should be able to adapt it fairly easily. And then we will start with a basic use case just to give you a flavor like how anyone can start automation. And like I'll also tell you the story how I came into automation. I didn't start my career in automation. I was in a different field. I started my career in middleware development, where I used to integrate different applications which are hosted in different environments, which might be created in different languages, be it .NET. So let's say one application is created in .NET, one application is a web service, one application is a mainframe system, and how you used to integrate all the different applications. That was my forte when I started off my career. But then there was an event where I saw what we can achieve with automation, and that is what instilled the urge for me to understand more about automation and learn more about automation. And today I have been here for the past 6-7 years, both learning as well as advocating for automation for everyone with whom I connect with. And then for the last, we'll have a little bit of question and answer. I think a lot of the question and answer have been resolved from our previous session, but we'll give some time if there is any other question that comes up after hearing us. So we'll start with what RPA is, which is very straightforward. It basically can be broken down into 3 words: robotic process automation. Robotics, as you say, it's like mimicking human actions. Process is like a sequence of steps that is required for a business activity, and automation is like doing something autonomously without having any manual intervention. So robotic process automation is basically automating repeatable things which does not require your judgment. It is mundane, repetitive, and you do it on a recurring basis. Those kinds of automation can be done using RPA. Nowadays, we are moving towards hyper automation and intelligent automation, which is like an amalgamation between robotic process automation and artificial intelligence. And like robotic process automation is the enabler, and we use artificial intelligence for the judgmental part. So whenever there is a judgmental component in an entire process that needs to be incorporated, we incorporate artificial intelligence technologies like computer vision. We might use natural language processing, we might use sentiment analytics. These are all the different technologies in artificial intelligence that integrates with RPA to make it intelligent automation. Benefits of RPA. You want to take this up?
I think benefits of RP, everybody, people knows now by now is that the other first question asked in this whole session, like in the earlier session, is something, of course, number one is the efficiency, accuracy, number two is the accuracy, and number three is the scalability. So I think without these things, in a fast-paced environment, which you see most of the job descriptions when given to you, that is not going to be procured. So I think that is one of the best things, but I would say two things matter the most. One is efficiency, number two is accuracy, and of course the fault which can rise due to human errors, the risks due to human errors. I think that is one of the things. Now, of course, cross questions can be asked that what if the bot makes an error? It can make an error, it's fine. But those errors, if they are rule based, likely they will be lesser. Likely the errors will be lesser if they are rule based, which is the plain RP. In case of intelligent automations, the error chances becomes a bit higher because they are judgmental and they are AI based, which is not absolutely till date. It's not the no AI has been perfect and it should not be. It's fine. Okay. Now that's one I think. And of course there are other points which you can see like increased customer satisfaction. That is something. It depends on your project. Don't go by the slide. It depends on the project. If you cannot like the chatbot in the earlier session, if you cannot really give them a good reply in case of a bank, then please don't do it. Like if you see one case of not AI related, not so much of AI has been used there. It is the, I think it's called Diksha of ISACA. If anyone has booked, okay. So ISACA, that's much rule based and very less AI has been used. That gives a perfect reply, but that's very simple. You want to book a train from this to this, or you want to cancel a ticket from here to here. That is simple rule based things, but you cannot ask him a question, should I cancel my ticket? You cannot do that. So there are chances. So I would say that depends, customer satisfaction, that depends. So yeah, I think next point we can move. Who is using RPA? So Shan?
Yes. So the adoption of RPA across industries. We might have people from different industries, but RPA is industry agnostic, as I've already said. We can implement RPA in almost any industry. It only depends on the use case, if it is rule based or if it's just if it requires any judgmental things. Financial services as a huge adopter of RPA because there is a lot of repetitive tasks that needs to be done in financial services, be it bank reconciliation, there could be n number of things that is done by humans at the current.
Anyone from the government sector here? No one? No one from the government sector. Okay.
Government sector is also like
you think about the repetitive forms. The citizen-led fill up forms which are there like from any scheme, like any PM-led scheme or any C scheme, like you have to end up anything and becomes a scheme. So like that any state government scheme or any central government scheme, lot of like crore plus forms are filled up. So in those cases, I think RPA can be a very useful use case, and I'm sure it has never been used. So yeah,
absolutely. And like for your example that you have given, whenever you are filling out forms, and if you need to digitize that, the digitization part is a part of automation. Whenever you are converting PDFs, like scanned PDFs into actual digital forms and filling out say ERPs, directly, like say for instance you have an invoice in PDF and you extract the data from the invoice and you have to put it inside a ERP, be it SAP, be it Oracle, be it NetSuite. This is very different ERPs, but the best part of RPA is it's easily integratable with any and every ERP that is possible. And the best part about RPA is like it can do anything that a human can do. It's got all the capabilities that a human has. Be it like how do we do a task? We see things, we understand things, we know that when this happens, we have to do this. When that happens, we have to do that. We can similarly code the code in such a way that it follows the same rules that a human would follow. So whatever you are doing in your day-to-day task, as long as it is not very highly judgmental, you are using your experience, your knowledge about certain things for a long time, as long as it is just plain and simple copy pasting from certain things, entering certain data, sending emails to customer, each and everything can be automated. And I feel we have just explored the tip of the iceberg. There is a huge amount of opportunity, especially in government sectors, especially in domestic organizations. The organizations which are obviously from the other countries, which US, they are much more streamlined. The processes are much more efficient. So obviously we implement automation there as well. But for Indian industries, which is a little I'll not say backdated, it's just that it is trying to get more digital. We are obviously revolutionizing our country. We are making it digital, but just for that we might need to use more such technologies. And this is not only confined to automation. There are a lot of other technologies that are getting discovered, invented on a day-to-day basis, and we should try to adapt those technologies to make our lives easier and to make our countries prosper even further. So there are
Missed one point.
yeah.
Indian clients who will pay that amount of few lakhs for a license.
Okay, so one of the challenging part is the licensing cost. Yes, since we get very cheap labor in India, sometimes it does not make sense for an organization to procure a license. But whenever you comprehend a particular process based on the scalability purpose, based on whenever your customer satisfaction is more important than the cost part, whenever your ability to scale is more important than what you are spending currently, at that point of time it makes sense to use automation, because obviously at the cost of these RPA tools you might be able to get 5-6 resources who would be able to do that manually. But then what would be the cost benefits here? But that is where there should be a mentality shift. You should try to adapt this not because of the cost, but because of the efficiency. It would reduce your actual resources, like productivity. Like they can use their time to do something more productive, and we can let the automation do the mundane task which does not provide any value to the people who are doing those tasks. So yeah, we can implement it in all the different sectors. These are only a few sectors to name. Going forward, these are the primary automation tools that are there in the market. We have more beyond this, but these are like the ones which are market leading. UiPath, Automation Anywhere, Prism, you might have heard in the previous session. Apart from that, we have Nice, Sayan, Chowdhury, also Ujjwal mentioned in the previous session. And Power Automate is scaling up because it's a Microsoft product, so they are obviously increasing all the features and everything in Power Automate and trying to make it scalable. But obviously, if you check the Magic Quadrant, I think you must have seen the similar slide in the previous session.
If you cannot see, UiPath is here.
So this is like UiPath is a market leader by a long margin.
So it's not clearly visible. It's a quadrant. Can you go to the? It's a quadrant. Okay. This slide was in the previous one. version as well. I'm just repeating it. There's a quadrant between four things here. So this is about the challenges. This is about the leaders that who are leading it. The top is UI path. Here it's more about the visionaries. C is the vision. Where besides everything else, you can see SAP as well. SAP thinks in that those terms, even it's not an RPA company primarily. And here it is the niche players who cater to specific needs. For example, only finance or only medical or whatever. So there are something like this. But UiPath is not a niche player, it's very generic. You can build it for it.
The application of UiPath has a broad domain, so it's not confined to a specific sector or specific use case. The ones that you can see in the bottom are specific to certain sectors, specific to certain use cases, but the ones that you see as leaders are more general, so that is why they have been able to be the market leaders. So this is one of the study that is done by Gartner. They release this for almost all tools on a periodic basis. This is the latest report from 2023. Similarly, this is another similar kind of a study, and this has been done by the Everest Group. Here also you can see the leaders remain the same. It is UiPath, Automation Anywhere, Microsoft, this is Microsoft Power Automate, and Blue Prism. So these are the main tools that is being used in the industry. But obviously there are other players. People have different priorities. For someone it's the cost that is important. For someone it is the scalability which is important. So based on that you have to evaluate all the different tools and accordingly choose which one would be the right fit for your use cases. And just to give you some context, this is how the robotic process automation market is projected to grow for the next few years, and the rate at which it is expected to grow should provide you some confidence that this is a emerging sector and investment in this sector would reap benefits in the long run. You can see that it is projected to grow at almost 40% CAGR for the next almost 7 years. This is the projection from 2023 to 2030.
Global is 27 and I think US is the highest. So I think people dealing in US clients, I think have this in mind. Okay. So
currently the market is valued at around 3 billion, and if it is projected to grow at around 40% CAGR, you can understand the rate at which this is going to evolve, and it would present opportunity for each one of you in whatever sector you are working in, and also for all the clients that you cater to. So you can promote that to your clients, and obviously you can get the benefits out of this for your clients as well. As I told you, these are the three main market leaders: UiPath, Automation Anywhere, Blue Prism. Blue Prism is as of late fallen out of it is no longer used very widely. It is mostly UiPath and Automation Anywhere. It is so we are today going to focus on UiPath. And
Sayan, I have one question for you. Is Automation Anywhere growing more than UiPath? Like, what do you think? UiPath is the leader, we all understand that, but is Automation Anywhere like growing more than UiPath? That's my question. So back 6 years back, I was seeing like 4 people using UiPath or 2 people using Automation Anywhere back in like 2018 when I was working with you. So now, is it how the scenario now?
It's still, UiPath is still market leading. It's but Automation Anywhere has changed their strategy. They have implemented they have evaluated UiPath, like all the features that UiPath had been giving previously. Automation Anywhere was a little bit what I would say is like low code, and UiPath is towards no code. So even if you have no experience in coding, you should still be able to adapt UiPath. But for Automation Anywhere, you needed a little bit of coding language, but with time they have adapted with the changing environment, and now Automation Anywhere has also moved to no code. So that is why they are like very competitive in nature, because at the end of the day it boils down to the partner with whom they are negotiating. So whenever someone gives a better discount, the client would go to that particular vendor. But it is neck and neck competition between UiPath and Automation Anywhere, with UiPath having an edge over Automation Anywhere because it is still doing a lot of the right things and it is still growing at a brisk rate.
So I have a question. You mentioned about the vendors which are at the forefront. What about the consumer? You know, which sectors, or rather, from an Indian perspective, which Indian companies are the largest consumer? Which sector?
Consumers of
Automation or these products?
So for automation, banking and financial services sector is always been a huge sector where there is a lot of use cases that you can put. But the other sector, though there are use cases where we can use automation, but the banking sector, as I told you, is a gold mine of automation use cases because there is a lot of manual repetitive processes that are still being followed.
So even in India, banking sector is the
Yes. I'll need to go into more research. Like I have not been catering to the Indian market very much. Most of the clients that I work for is for US. But irrespective of the market, the processes are more or less same. So even if it's US, the difference is only that US might have a different set of regulations, different set of compliances. India might be a bit different, but essentially the theory is same for everyone, right? It's like the finance theory doesn't change for the US and India, but maybe the nitty-gritties are a little bit different. But I believe in India also, financial services would be the biggest adopters of RPA. But yeah, there are other sectors as well. Wherever you have got repetitive tasks, wherever you have a lot of desk job, wherever you are doing a back office job. If you see, most of the back offices job are into banking. There is a lot of use case in IT as well. So the back offices that has been outsourced from different countries, those kind of work can also be automated. So IT is also one sector where there is a lot of scope for automation, but it depends on company to company. There are certain companies who are catering to financial services. For them it might be for them, but for other companies it might be different. But it can be implemented in any sector. That is the moral of the story.
Just one more question. How easy is it to migrate from one vendor to other vendor? So if I start with UiPath, how easy can I migrate to Automate Anywhere or even Blueprint? And what are the modalities that we follow?
It's not about migration. You have to, because this is the program. See, it's like asking you have built a program in C. You can migrate data, but you cannot migrate a program. So for example, you have written a program in C. The same program you need to write in Python. So what you need to do? You need to take it logically and then again write the program in Python.
Yeah.
So that's what you need to do. So
You cannot use.
No, I understand that part. I understand all the technology part. What I'm saying is this: how easily it can be done. Is it more easier to go from UiPath to Blue Prism because I have people who can support me, or is it easier to go from UiPath to Automate
you're
Anywhere?
asking this here to here or here to here?
Anyway, I'm saying that which is most comfortable.
So migration passed with the least resistance.
See, it depends on the use cases.
No, I just want to answer. In the first case, why do you want to migrate? We are actually optimizing the process through something. And what we would try to migrate in this case?
So we have optimized our process. We are using a particular vendor, right? Now, because of certain licensing issues or some other vendor-related issues, I want to move to a
I
new
think
vendor.
So it's not about migration, it is about
It's a
transition.
migration of a platform altogether.
So you can use certain components for the migration as well. The process as is would not change. The process is same even if you do it using UiPath or any other tool or Automation Anywhere. So whatever documentation maybe you have used, whatever artifacts that you have created, you can reuse that for the other tools as well. So that would reduce some of the migration challenges, but at the end of the day, you would need to recode the entire thing from scratch. It's not that you can just lift and shift it. It's not like databases that you lift from one database and just shift it to a different database, only like configuring it to be able to handle those data. Maybe say for instance you have SQL previously and you want to migrate to a big data database. At that point of time it's much easier because you can do a lift and shift. Even in cases of ERPs, if you are moving from one ERP to another, as long as the backend database can be migrated easily, the front it's just ERP is just the front end. You are just interacting your business processes using the ERPs. But at the end of the day, at the backend there are data models, there are data tables that you are migrating. Here the case is a bit different. Here you are coding the data. So there are a lot of best practices that you need to follow. If you follow those best practices from the start, it becomes a little easier to do the migration. Say for instance, if you have created modular workflows, or if you have created separate databases for the data storage part. So in that case, you might not have to do the entire overhaul of the automation. You just have to say change the front end part where UiPath is interacting with SAP front end, and there you have to use automation anywhere to interact with the front end. But at the end of the day, the back end can be lifted from one part to the other. So, but in general, RPA migration projects are not very common nowadays because people are still starting to adopt one technology. Maybe it's a very valid question because maybe 5 years, 10 years down the line, based on certain licensing cost, it could be based on certain features that certain tools offer, you might feel that this RPA tool is more suited for my use cases. Maybe I am getting a better discount in this tool. But at this point, people are trying to understand what the capabilities are, and maybe at a future state, we might be having more modular components that would be easy to migrate. But yes, it's not very straightforward to migrate. It's like you have to recode the same thing in a different tool. Maybe some of the syntax can be reusable given that everything is based on function, based on .NET framework. Both of them are built on .NET framework, but it's just that the layout is different. Like Automation Anywhere, the tool that you are using is different from the UiPath tool that you are using. I hope that answers your question. So now we will move into one of the tools, that is UiPath, and we will quickly go through the different components of UiPath, and after that I will show you how UiPath looks, how easy it is to interact, and we can do some small use cases just to provide you a live example. So UiPath has got different components for the different aspects. You can see Explore, Studio, Orchestrator, Robots, Apps, and Insights. I'll not spend much time here, but there are different components are for different perspective. UiPath previously used to be a tool. It had got certain tools that you can use to automate. Now it has remodeled itself as a platform. It sells platform as a service. So there they have incorporated a lot of different things. It's not only confined to only creating and executing automation. We can do process mining. We can integrate artificial intelligence like computer vision, all the different artificial intelligence. Even we can also integrate generative AI like ChatGPT or whatever LLM model that we are using. Orchestrator Studio is the tool on which the development is done. So whenever you are planning to create automation, we do it in Studio. Orchestrator is where all the robots are being managed. So for instance, if your company has 100 robots, it is not possible for any one person to go inside each robot and see what it is doing, why it is failing. So that entire management is done using orchestrator. It is like a control room that controls all the different robots that has been deployed across different virtual machines. So for instance, whenever there is an issue with one of the bot executing, you would get a notification in the orchestrator that this bot failed with a log that this is the reason why it failed, so that you can log into that particular virtual machine and see why that particular bot failed. So you don't have to manage everything. That the managing part is being done by orchestrator. So we have studio for development, then we deploy it in orchestrator which manages it. Robots are deployed in your system in the virtual machine where the actual robot execution takes place. So it's like orchestrator is connected to a lot of different virtual machines. The robots are present in the virtual machines. Orchestrator connects to the different robots and triggers them based on the rules, based on certain triggers. It could be a time trigger, it could be say event triggers. If this happens, trigger this automation. If it is 12 in the night, run this automation, do this reconciliation and send the report to all the stakeholders. This kind of situations is being done using all the different components. Apps, so just like we have Google Apps, we have Google App Store, iPhone App Store, UiPath also has an App Store which has got pre-built automations that you can use out of the box. You don't have to do anything, you don't need a prior experience. You can simply import it in your workspace and you can directly run that in your system with a little bit of configuration to connect it with your system, but everything else is pre-built. So you have got certain modules, and for most of the tasks they have created certain applications. If you have any specific use cases which is particular to you, only then you have to start developing from scratch. But for most of the generic use cases, we have pre-built apps that are out of the box available. And insights is basically for getting the insights, like how many of your bot is running fine, what is the status of all the robot health and everything. So this entire thing is being packaged in a platform, and UiPath sells it to the customer as a platform. And based on your requirement, you can pick and choose whatever is useful for you. You might not need everything. You might only need studio, orchestrator, and robots. For some people, say for instance, you only have 4 or 5 automations only. For that, you don't need a full-fledged orchestrator, which is a very expensive proposition. So for that, you can only have a studio to build the robot and the robot to run the automation in different environments. So this is a basic architecture of how UiPath works. We create automation in UiPath Studio to digitize the process. So whoever is developing would require Studio. Orchestrator, it deploys it to the orchestrator, and then it is being used in different virtual machines, different systems using UiPath robots. Well, the theory part is pretty much done now. We will move into some use cases. So we'll start with a very simple use cases. So this is a very simple use case, but the reason I wanted to show this to you is this is what motivated me to change my field from my previous domain to the field of automation. Previously I did not have any experience in automation, but I attended one of the trainings, and it was a very simple use case where someone had to just open Notepad and write hello world, and it can be done automatically. So whenever I notice that like it is automatically opening Notepad and it is writing something autonomously, I felt what else can be done with this kind of a tool. And after that, what I did was, in one of my previous organizations, I used to do a lot of manual tasks. What I did was, after understanding the capability of this tool, I automated all the manual tasks that I did. So whenever I went to my office, I just triggered the automation. I used to walk away, roam the entire day, and everything that I needed to do was performed by the automation.
Which office you were in?
It was back when I was in Capgemini. So everyone was like,
I think you will not tell that.
so everyone is like, I never come in front of my system, and even then all my work gets completed within time. So everyone was like trying to understand how was I able to do that without being in front of my system, with me roaming around for most of the time during the office hours. Even still, every task that was assigned to me was getting completed. So that is how I leverage the power of automation in my life, and then I started advocating the use of automation to make others' life easier as well, and that is where I started my automation journey. So I'll quickly show you how this can be done with a live example. So there is nothing that is ready. I'll start from scratch. So this is the UiPath Studio that I was talking about. If I open this application, this is a desktop application. We have a web version of the application as well. So let me start the application. Excuse me if I am a little slow, because this system is not, I am not used to this system, and the keys are a little bit different. So just excuse me for that.
Training purpose, is a free version available?
Yes, and that is the most important thing. UiPath provides a community version for everyone to use and understand the applications of it, so you can test it out and you can see what are the capabilities before you start getting licenses and using it in a mass scale. So this is so whenever you are opening this is where you land up. So I'll just create a process. I name it a blank process.
Is it a perpetual free license?
Previously it used to be 60 days free license, but now they have given perpetually. But you cannot do enterprise automation with that. You would not get any support from UiPath if something breaks. And most importantly, it is not reliable to do it on client for your learning purpose. For proof of concept, yes, for learning purpose you can use it as many times as you want, but you cannot run unattended bots. So there is a concept of attended and unattended bot. Attended bot is like you are triggering it, you are interacting with the bot, and the bot is assisting you with your task. That is attended. You are running it in your system. Unattended bots are bots which are run in virtual machines, which are completely autonomous. It is triggered from the orchestrator. It could be time triggered, it could be event triggered, it could be triggered based on any logic, and it is automatically running everything, and maybe it would send a notification to you via email that the job has been completed, and you would need no manual intervention. Only when it fails you might need to just check why it failed. So
Here what you can see, another thing, their child will be coding nothing.
yes,
There will be zero coding here. It will be just as I normally say. For example, normally what he is doing, he wants to open a notepad and write there. Exactly this thing, he is going to put it here in the UiPath version. Nothing else. There will be zero coding, and hence you can see that will be replicated in the system, and that will actually write hello world. Instead of hello world, you can write anything. But yeah, that's the thing.
so I have to tell the bot where to write. So I am explaining the bot, this is where you have to write. It is understanding it based on something called selector. And the activity name is very self-explanatory. Like what I am trying to do, I am trying to type it. So I will search for typing. And what do I want to type?
দেখা যাচ্ছে তো?
That's it. And if I close this And if I run the bot, it's going to open the file and it's going to write hello world. So it is this easy to create automation real time. It took me less than 1 minute to do this, and you could do much more complicated tasks. But previously, to do this, you needed to know certain programming languages, you needed to know certain syntaxes, you needed to install a lot of other things in your system. Now, with only one tool, with basic knowledge, you should be able to do this. And this can interact with anything and everything that you see, like that you can interact with. It could be web application, it could be desktop application, it could be ERPs, it could be anything. So this was one of the use cases that I wanted to show, just to give you all a little bit of confidence that it's something that can be done by you guys, and I would promote that every one of you get your hands dirty. It is not very difficult. It's just that the barrier to entry is very less. So it's just your mentality that you have to change, that I can do it, and there is a lot of resources available for anyone who wants to learn more about automation. You can go to UiPath community. You would be able to get this free version of the tool, and there the content is the best part about UiPath is the UiPath community. Whatever problem you come across, there is someone or the other across the industry that has previously faced similar issues. So you would be able to use their previous experiences, how they resolve that, and kind of implement that. So unless and until you are doing something way ahead of your time, you would almost get 99% of your queries resolved in the automation community. And if it's not resolved, if you are not able to find it, you can also post your question, and the community is pretty active. There is a huge amount of participant of the community. So whenever you post any questions, within one day is too much, even less than a day, you would get some of the other solutions from the community members for you to resolve that issue. So that is the best part about the UiPath adoption.
I have a question here.
Yeah.
Actually, you have typed in a notepad. So there is some code got generated behind the scene. Suppose I uninstall this UiPath, that particular code also gets deleted, or it can be retained?
Yes. Great.
UiPath basically so whenever you code, in whatever language you code, you obviously have a particular file that gets generated. For a Python code, it would be .py file. For a .NET code, it would have a different extension. Whenever you are creating a code in UiPath, it is called a XAML code. So that is something you can develop in your system, and you can circulate it to the rest of the audience. Everyone can use that same code. So it's easily shareable. You can just, the only prerequisite that everyone would need is downloading this tool. So if you don't download this tool, if I share it with you, you would not be able to use it. But given that we have a free version of this tool, it is very easily shareable. And if you create one automation, the best part is
just a question. I think he's asking for the XAML file only. I thought you were asking for the code. The XAML file. No, the XAML file doesn't get deleted. If you save it somewhere else, and if you
uninstall it will not get deleted, but you will not be able to
use it. Yeah.
Without the software in your system, if you cannot create this automation and you uninstall, so it is like you have created an Excel file and you uninstall Excel. Will you be able to open it? No. So this is a desktop application. So you can obviously cannot. So it requires a runtime. You can run it without Studio, but you at least need a bot, like robot license, which what I showed you is UiPath Studio, where you actually develop the code. But to execute the code, you don't need UiPath Studio. You just need the UiPath runtime, the runtime environment that provides you the resources to run the code. So whenever you are deploying it in a virtual machine, the virtual machine does not have UiPath Studio. There we have UiPath Robot. Only people who are developing the automations need UiPath Studio for the development purpose. And for running, it's just the robot license that you need. So that was a simple use case. There is a second use case. Extract information from emails and create a spreadsheet report. And this has been created by Abhishek. Yesterday night we were having a discussion. He was like, I want to do something myself. And obviously he is from automation, but he has not.
I'm not from automation. I'm from the business side.
Yes, he's mostly from business side.
Yeah.
Yes. So he does not have any prior experience, but he was able to create this automation himself without any prior experience. I just guided him that this is what you have to do, and he was able to create the automation himself. So I'll show you what the automation does, and this is a very practical automation.
If I take a delete code, the delete code is fine.
Yes, I will. I have deleted the file and everything is ready. So you see, there is no file here. What this automation would do?
This is a personal folder. Include the file names. Okay.
So this is the automation. So this is a pre-built automation. As I told you, there are a lot of pre-built templates that are there. You just need to configure it in your system for your use cases. Everything else has been done. So this was pretty much ready. So it is basically extracting all the emails from your email ID.
This is online, by the way.
Yeah, this is
online.
So I have shown you UiPath Studio. This is the desktop version of the studio, and this has been done.
So this is the free community version only you are using, right?
Yes.
This is the free community version. Like we don't have any special licenses.
I'll just request one thing to, before Sayan takes over, is that after the session, once you go home today or tomorrow, create an account in UiPath community. Okay, like there, sign in, and go to the studio path, and definitely you will be able to use any template for that. So there you will find a lot of templates. You can integrate your Gmail and a lot of things. So this example deals with a very valid requirement. Sometimes what we do when we have to search emails, we search by the content. But we can see the email, right? But we cannot extract it. For extraction, there will be separate scripts coming in. A lot of difficulties will be there. It's not going to be this easy. So there is a very practical requirement that if you need something, say last month's email or last month's email for this client, or that means that anything relevant to that client, say Tata Group is our client. Well, just an example, Tata Group is our client. So the last month, all the emails from the last 2 months having the name Tata Group in it, give me that one. So that comes to you as a report, whether they have an attachment or not. So that extracting that as a report, that solves your purpose. It's a very simple use case, but a very useful use case. So yeah,
And you can extend it to like actual use cases for a different sector. Say for instance, you are catering to customer service and you get a lot of emails from different customers. So it's currently what we do. There is a human person who is going through all the emails, trying to identify the problem that the customer has raised, and then he or she is responding with relevant information. This is monotonic. It is not very scalable. Now you have 10 customers, you might get 10 emails. But whenever you are scaling out, and say for instance, after a certain point you have got 1 million customers, it's not possible for you to scale at that rate. You cannot have say 1,000 people hired overnight. But whenever you are creating an automation, you can just deploy 100 new bots. It is like it is using the same automation that you have created for one bot, but it is being done by 100 robots simultaneously. And whenever there is an off season, you might not need the 100 bots. You can scale it down to 50 bots. So that kind of scalability can be provided using automation. So it's not only about the cost benefit. If you think holistically from a business standpoint, if you want to scale out, if you want to make your business big, you have to have these capabilities to scale up and down based on the market demands. So this is being configured with Abhishek's email ID. So we just needed to configure this. When I run this, you would have seen that there is nothing here. It is currently running the bot. It is iterating through his email ID, going through all the emails. Currently it does not have much condition, but once the report gets generated, I can tell you what additional analysis that we can do with this data. So you can see it is running currently. See, it is
Each activity runs, it shows.
See, it is running. It is running iteratively for all the different emails. And you can see the logs here, like what it is actually doing, and it is done. It is successful. So if I go to this location, I'll see that a file is created. If I open this file, and I firstly freeze this column, freeze this row. So you can see what it has done is it has gone through his email ID. It has extracted all the relevant information, like on what day the email was received, what is the subject of the email, from whom this was received, who was in CC, and what was the body of the email. If we had to do it manually previously, everyone had to go through each and every email and create this Excel file from scratch, and this would have taken. So if you want to go back, say for instance, for the last 1 year, if you want to extract all the emails, it might have taken you, say, a number of hours to create something like this. But with automation, you are able to extract all this information just at a click of a button. And what additional thing that you can do here is, say for instance, you have got a body. So for instance, you are catering to customer services, and you can use this information, you can do sentiment analysis to understand the customer's response, if it is a positive response or if it is a negative response, and accordingly you can provide a customized response to those customers, that for this problem statement what you are kind of doing to resolve that issue, or if it's a positive positive feedback, you can respond back to the customer that thank you for your response, we would love to continue. For that to be done by a human, that person needed to go through the entire email, understand what sentiment it is actually trying to showcase, but here the bot is able to do that itself only. And there is a lot of different use cases that you can do with this kind of automation. So that was one of the use cases that would be very practical and useful for a lot of others. This is only to inculcate some thoughts in you guys, so that you people can think about the business processes that you do and where you can put automations and make your life, your employers' lives and everyone around your lives easier. That is the main objective of automation. I have a couple of, I'll not hold you guys, I know it's almost time, I'll just take a couple of more minutes. So one of the requests from Subrato's sir, and Subrata sir is not present unfortunately, but he wanted to see automation in GST. So yes, so I had done one use case in GST as well. So this would be very relevant for people who.
Anyone understands the GST reconciliation?
Yes, please continue.
I think that this is the one that is getting most of the demand.
No, I'm asking a different question. Anyone understand the GST reconciliation?
Yes, yes.
Fine.
I think we have Subrata sir coming in, so we can.
3B2A. 3B2A or like?
I am not a GST person. I was asked to create an automation, and I just created the automation. I have very less understanding of why this was being done. I think Abhishek can provide some light on this automation. But
I think people here understand GST. So GST reconciliation is like one of the tools in GST, various tools. So they don't need to know about GST.
So I'll just
Let's go to the automation here, which takes 20 minutes. You can do it in 3 to 4 minutes. That's the purpose of showing you.
So before I go through the automation, this is the steps that it is doing. It is like logging into this GST portal. It is doing the login using credential of, this is a redacted client ID. It is like the captcha. Obviously, captcha is something that the bot is not able to enter. This is the only part where you would need manual intervention. So this use case would fall under attended automation. Yes. The previous one was the one that we showed in the first was an unattended automation. It was automatically triggered. This is the attended automation because you are interacting with the automation. And then there are some steps that is being done. It is going to dashboard and doing something, and at the end it is generating a report and which is circulated to the stakeholders. So I'll run the bot, and if you have any question regarding the process, you can ask Abhishek. I am not a expert in this field. So you see, this is the folder structure for the automation.
In this case, the main purpose is time saving. It's not about
You see this .xaml file. This is what gets created when you create automation. And this main.xaml is the main file that you need to run to create the automation, like to execute the automation.
Once I set the workflow, this file gets generated.
Yes.
Then this file after double clicking, it will
Yes.
start.
After double clicking, it will open the file. Inside that, you will see that you will have to
running
click
click
the run.
run mode button আছে ওটা click করতে হবে
Stop, you will see debug file, you have to click.
রান করে দিলে ওই যেহেতু ফাইলে সব লজিকটা লেখা আছে রান করে দিবে।
The logic is built within the system itself, like within the file itself.
ফাইল itself।
Yeah.
তার মানে শুধু আমাদের যদি এই পার্টিকুলার টুলটাই থাকে স্টুডিওটা, তাহলে মানে যদি টেস্টিং শেখার জন্য এটা যথেষ্ট।
That's everything that you need for creating.
ফাইলগুলো পাত্তাগুলো তো ঠিক দিতে হবে, কোথায় ফাইলগুলো আছে অফকোর্স না।
ওই কনফিগারেশনটা করতে
ঠিক
হবে।
আছে, ঠিক আছে।
ওটা করে নিলে মানে আর কি রোবোটিক্সের লাইসেন্স লাগবে?
টাইম অ্যালট করে যাবে তো যে আমি 1 ঘন্টা ছড়ে ছড়ে দেখব
সেটার জন্য
Continuous poll করতে থাকবে। So it is logging into the GST portal. It is automatically writing the username,
আর
password.
টাইম অ্যালোকেট করতে গেলে কি শিডিউলিং অটোস্টেটলি করতে হবে
Scheduling করতে হবে, তার জন্য we need orchestrator. না হলে the orchestrator না থেকে you have to trigger it manually. Previously there was a hack that we could use to automate that, but now they have made it more secure. So time trigger requires a orchestrator license. So it is going to GST. It is going to
File details.
file returns. So if you are doing this recurringly or for different clients on a regular basis, if you automate it once, you can use it for any client, any industry. It will reduce your effort. You are saving the file, like downloading and saving the file in. You have to tell where you have to keep it, but so it has downloaded the file, and also it will, like if you want to do any other processing as well, if you want to do reconciliation, I think this is also doing some reconciliation, and then it is sending the email directly to the client. So this is the automation has been executed successfully. It will give you that message.
এটা ইউআই পাতে মেসেজ বক্স
So it is done. Now you will see that an email comes in. But it was configured that the email comes to me, but we can configure it to be sent to the client. Like we can send it to anyone who needs to get that information. So this is the file. And final output is this. 2 files are automatically created with all the reconciliation, everything done. The reconciliation and all those things are also completed. So with tally, and we are doing some reconciliation.
ট্যালিটা বলতে গিয়ে
এই ট্যালি ওই ট্যালি মানে
মেলাচ্ছে
হ্যাঁ
ওকে
মানে ট্যালি ইন দ্য গ্রামাটিক্যাল
ট্যালি
নট ট্যালি সফটওয়্যার
So you will see the email law চলে এসেছে যে please find the GST file app. So it is like you can configure everything and automatically চলেও যাবে যাকে পাঠানো, তো you don't have to do
Actually,
anything.
গভর্নমেন্ট এই কাজটা করছে করে ওরা আমাদেরকে মানে
হ্যাঁ, ঠিক
ওরা
বলেছে,
পাঠাচ্ছে
এটাই করছে।
এটাই হচ্ছে কারণ ওরা অটোমেটিক এটা করছে এত
এত ফাস্ট
এত বেজ এত
আইটিসি বাইটিসি গুলো তো
হ্যাঁ, সব
বেরিয়ে
ওরাই
যাবে।
করে দিচ্ছে
সব।
ওরাই চলে আসছে কাস্টমারের কাছে
So I created this because I knew that a lot
It's
of
a good
people
it's a good
Okay,
process
হ্যাঁ। ভালো জিনিস, yes, good.
Right.
and then
এটা
this
শেখা
is
গেল
only
আমরা
for
করতে পারবো আমরা শিখে নেবো
for
ISACA
and you can create this automation, any of you can create this automation.
Yes.
Even at this stage of your careers as well, you don't need
all are young what you do
No, no, no.
Young at heart.
Doesn't matter, doesn't
Young at
matter.
heart.
and if you want to learn
We will call you. You help us. Sometimes do work
too.
without money also, na?
I work without money only.
it's not only about money,
It's not about money.
it's also for promoting
Yes.
automation for everyone else.
আমরা একটু বিরক্ত করতে পারি।
Absolutely.
হ্যাঁ?
খুব ভালো জিনিস শিখিয়েছেন
এটা খুব ভালো জিনিস।
খুব ভালো জিনিস শিখিয়েছেন for us because we are GST practitioners
মেশিন রিস্টার্ট থেকে আরম্ভ করে সবই ডিলিট এভরিথিং
রেকনসিলিয়েশনটা আগেই করে নিতে পারবো আমরা রোডটা করবো
Suppose I every day I will
তা করবে
opening 20 websites and searching for particular information and
বলছেন?
Hey.
হ্যাঁ?
particular place.
Oh, GST
Excel
practitioner.
or something.
রিক্লেম ক্রেডিট আগে পরে যেটা রুল 37 এর ক্রেডিট হ্যাঁ ওই ওটা হবে ল্যাটারালটা হবে ল্যাটারালটা
এটা তো করি।
আর
আমি সেটা করি।
judgmental work, আপনি কি মাথা
আমি সব থেকে বেশি কাজ করছি, কেউ বলছে,
আমরা কি
সব
করবো?
থেকে
কিন্তু কাজ না, আপনি জানেন যে এখানে যেতে হবে, এখানে ক্লিক করতে হবে, এটা ডাউনলোড করতে হবে, ওই
এটা তো-
ওয়েবসাইটে যেতে হবে, ওটা ডাউনলোড করতে হবে। দ্যাট ইজ স্ট্রেট ফরওয়ার্ড অপারেশন, যেখানে আপনি ভেবে চিন্তে কাজ করবেন।
ওই প্রসেসেই আমরা আগে কাজ করতাম করেছি এখন এটা তো দেখে আরো সহজ হলো।
এগুলোর জন্য ইজ লাইক ইউজ কেস গুলো হচ্ছে ভেরি গুড কেসেস অফ অটোমেশন, যেখানে আপনি মাল্টিপল ওয়েবসাইটে যাচ্ছেন, এই ওয়েবসাইট থেকে একটা ডেটা কালেক্ট করছেন, ওই ওয়েবসাইট থেকে আরেকটা ডেটা কালেক্ট করছেন, করে রিকনসাইল করছেন একটা
Then you apply your own thinking process, logical approach. That is a logical process.
logical process
So
can
where-
also be done in using automation, but I don't think a lot of logical things is being done on your day-to-day tasks. Most of the tasks that we do is like very monotonic. There is rule that is defined. If this happens, like we have to do more exception handling. If this happens, do this. If it doesn't happen that way, you have to do the other way. And if you don't code the bot in such a way that it's not able to understand ওকে কি করতে হবে, ও ওটাকে এক্সেপশনে ফেলে দেবে। তো আপনার 10টার মধ্যে ধরো 8টা নিজে থেকেও বুঝে করে নিল, দুটো ওকে এক্সেপশনে পাঠিয়ে দিল, ওই দুটো আপনাকে করতে হচ্ছে। তো সেখানে আপনার 10টা করতে হচ্ছিল, সেখানে আপনাকে দুটো করতে হচ্ছে। দ্যাট ইজ দ্য এফিসিয়েন্সি দ্যাট দ্য বট উড ব্রিং
in fact this can be used for TDS also now the kind of notices we are getting
yes it should be done
TDS wrong TDS we have active
No, I think Shayan, like how many days they may need to learn this? I think 1 week. This one, 1 week, 10.
আরে আরেকটু বেশি বলবেন না, কোনো আপত্তি নেই, we will take time.
Actually, it's gonna
Take
it cannot take time because it's no code. You have your logics with you. You need to know that framework. That's it.
2% pass.
You know your logics already.
See, it is not possible for me to teach you automation within 1.5 hours.
no sure
But
Yes.
if anyone wants to actually learn about automation, you want to have hands-on experience, like we can obviously conduct another session where it would be like you guys need to have the hands-on.
Madam,
I can help you guys.
আপনাকে
One hour workshop, yes, yes.
আমরা বাক্স নিয়ে চলে আসবো ল্যাপটপের বাক্সটা নিয়ে চলে আসবো
ট্রাই আউট করে নিই, আগে একটু ট্রাই আউট করে নিই,
লিয়েরা দেখেন।
তারপর, তাই না?
না ছোট ম্যাডাম আমরা ল্যাপটপের বাক্স নিয়ে জলের বোতল পেন্সিল সবই আছে
আর জলের বোতল নিই।
আছে এখানে আছে
এটা তো আমি প্ল্যানিং করেই রেখেছি।
একদম, একদম।
হ্যাঁ আমরা
এটা
এগুলো all
planning করে রেখেছি।
এটা খুব ভালো।
প্রি বুকিং করে নিন প্রি বুকিং কালাকারা
আপনাদের ট্যাক্সের সিজনটা যাক তারপর।
না, এটা দারুণ session।
হ্যাঁ, ভালো।
Last but not the least, this is where automation is integrating with artificial intelligence, and how we have intelligent automation revolutionizing the industry.
Yes.
So this is the automation cloud. So whenever আমি জাস্ট এটাই দেখাচ্ছি যে দিস ইজ আপনারা গিয়ে ইউআইপাথ অটোমেশন ক্লাউড গুগলে গিয়ে সার্চ করবেন, যেরকম ফেসবুক অ্যাকাউন্ট খোলেন, যেরকম বাকি সোশ্যাল মিডিয়াতে অ্যাকাউন্ট খোলেন, সেরকমই এখানে গিয়ে নিজের একটা অ্যাকাউন্ট খুলবেন, খুলে আপনি এরকম একটা জায়গায় ল্যান্ড করবেন। দিস ইজ ইউআইপাথ অটোমেশন ক্লাউড। এখানে ডাউনলোড স্টুডিওটা টিপলেই আপনার স্টুডিও ডাউনলোড হয়ে যাবে। এই যেটা দেখতে পাচ্ছেন স্টুডিও, যেটাতে আমি কোড ফোড করলাম, আপনার সিস্টেমে রেডি, কিচ্ছু করতে হবে না। আর এভরিথিং ইজ ইন দিস প্ল্যাটফর্ম। তো কোনো স্পেশাল সফটওয়্যার, কোনো স্পেশাল কিচ্ছু লাগবে না, জাস্ট ইউআইপাথ অটোমেশন ক্লাউডে গিয়ে অ্যাকাউন্ট খুলবেন, লগ ইন করবেন, যেরকম নর্মাল একটা ইয়েতে করেন, সোশ্যাল মিডিয়াতে করেন। The last use case that I am showing is integrating artificial intelligence with RPA. Here I will be using document understanding. This is where the robot is automatically able to extract information from documents. It could be invoices, it could be purchase orders, it could be anything, it could be any other document. UiPath has been pre-trained on a huge amount of data. So whenever you give it a new data, it will automatically first classify what this particular PDF is. Is it an invoice? Is it a PDF? Is it a identity card? What it is? And based on its trained models, it will automatically extract information from the bot. I will create it live and I'll show it how easy it is to extract information from unstructured data. Whenever we discuss about PDFs and scanned images, these are all unstructured data. It is not in table format. It is like, it is spread out in a very different way. So you must have seen a couple of examples in the previous presentation when Ujjwal and Abhijit was giving the presentation. He was showing how the bot was extracting information from PDFs, but here I will show you how that is being done and how easy it is to create. So I have logged into this system, and any one of you can also log into this system just the way I did. I just need to drag and drop one document. So I have just I'll drag and drop my passport. So if I drag and drop my passport here, I have done no coding. I have just opened the UiPath platform. I have uploaded this document. It is based on the document. It is trying to understand what document it is. It's processing. But let me first show you what the document is. It is basically my passport. So this is a scan. This is a very bad quality image. Not a scan, it is kind of a image. But see the level of accuracy UiPath is in extracting all this information. This is PII for your sake.
You meant the text image is bad. Sorry.
Yes, yes.
I misunderstood.
Yeah, this is. But yes, but this is. So UiPath was able to export all the information. It is able to identify with 99.67% confidence that this is a passport. So firstly, whenever I have uploaded, I have not told it anything, they were like what I am uploading. But based on the structure of the image, it was able to identify this is a passport. And now see, if it is saying that this is a passport, but if he is wrong, I can still change it here. So if it is not a passport, if it is say for instance any other data, you can see there is payslip, it could be purchase order, receipts, anything. So it has been trained on different kinds of document types.
And this can be done like for thousands of such documents automatically.
And if you say have thousands of passports, from where you have to extract the information, you just have to upload the 1000 passports there. All the data would be extracted, which would otherwise have costed you a lot of man hours for someone to manually open each and every PDFs and extract individual information from there. So it has automatically created a workflow based on that. If I click test, I am executing the workflow now. And now it is going through the workflow, like it is going through the PDF and extracting all the information. And it has successfully been able to extract the information. This is the last part. So it has already extracted everything. So I'll have to. So now what we have to do is we just have to validate if it has extracted the data correctly or not. So I go here. So this is a task that I have to assign to someone. Everything is autonomous. So for example, if it has extracted 1,000 records, it would need to be reviewed by someone. So if I check this and I assign it to myself. So see, it has gone through this and you would be able to see all the different things that it has extracted. This is the number of my passport, and from where it has extracted, he is also showing this. If I feel that he has done it correctly, and he is 94% confident that he has done it correctly, and if I feel the same, I will just give it correct. Oops.
So these data, if we say yes, it is correct, goes back to their database. Because we want to know the privacy aspect of this application as well.
This,
See, it is already going to their database because he is uploading an image.
so this is being
processed in the cloud.
automatically trained,
Right.
and there is a trained model.
Exactly.
Whenever you are uploading something,
I want to know because we are giving this community version free of cost, right?
but they are getting the data.
This boosts their accuracy. It boosts their accuracy parameters.
So they will again use your
Otherwise,
data.
you are losing your
to
data.
retrain
That
the
is
model.
beyond consideration.
There is a privacy
But
concern.
So even
checking
they
this
will
box
use
will
your data to train the model.
endorse their accuracy.
I got your point. I got your
So it's
No, because see, there is no other way. For example, I'll give very easy example. You want to,
but see, it is
there is no other
they
way.
have their, because this is being used by big organizations. Organizations like the biggest banks in the world, JP Morgan, Barclays, Credit Suisse is now obviously bankrupt, UBS. All the big banks are using this information. They should have done their own due diligence before adopting this technology. So when they have given a green signal and they are ready to adopt this technology, privacy is obviously of utmost concern, but at the same time that should not restrict us from adapting new things, because this is at the end of the day providing a lot of value for each one of us. So you can see it has extracted my name, but it's not doing everything correctly. So for instance, if I see here, it is not able to identify the Hindi version. So that part is, it has arbitrarily written something, but it was able to understand Indian. Like my gender, from where it has taken that M. So I might need some time to figure out where that M is. But yeah, but it is able to just go through everything, my date of birth, and where it is taking it from this information. Everything is done autonomously. I didn't tell it this is a passport. I didn't tell it from where it has to extract the information.
What is the purpose of this checkbox right hand side?
This is just to validate. Like if you are, yes, but it is just asking you to validate if it has done it correctly or not. If you say no, like if you don't click it, so it will say that there might be something wrong. But if you say, if you check this box, it is like you are confirming that you have extracted the correct information, and they might use this information to retrain their model that yes, you have done it correctly, so that the next time when you have similar kind of a data, and it has extracted all the different information, my address, everything that is there from that needs to be extracted from a passport. This is an example. you can extract data from any documents. You can have SOWs which are spanning hundreds of pages, and you need to find out only a few specific information. For someone human to do it, you might need to go through the 100 pages to figure out where you would find that exact data. But whenever you are just letting the robot do it, you are just uploading the file. It is doing the job on behalf of you, going through all the 100 pages, and it is telling you this is the data that I have found out. You just have to verify if it has done it correctly. So your task reduces significantly. So from 100 pages, you just have to, it is also showing you from where it is taken. So you know that it is on the 55th page on 30th line. So you get the exact location from where it is extracting the data, and you just have to verify, yes, this is correct, and that is it, and everything is done.
And what about a bill of material we can read very
If
fast?
it is a completely new kind of a document,
No, say PDF. BOM is available in PDF for us to audit. So just
they have trained the model on a lot of data, on different formats of data, so they are pretty stable. Unless your data is very bad, like it is not understandable, you cannot.
doctor's prescription.
Yeah, it's like it's handwritten. Even it can still identify handwritten texts, but if it is like a doctor's prescription, it would not be able. Like what it would do is like it would be able to identify, but the confidence score would be very
Would
low.
be very low.
So then you have to help it, like fine tune what is the exact place that it should look.
And that can be a use case that, like, say, hundreds of invoices, hundreds of passports uploaded together, and all the data I have in an Excel file. That can be extremely use case of this one. So
Whenever you have
actually
hundreds and
days of work,
thousands of data, you have like 10-20 people going through all the data on a regular basis just to extract certain information that you need to, say, put in PRP. This is, say, for instance, a use case. When you put automation, you replace those 10 people's work, and they can be used for doing something productive, and everything is done by the bot, and that would be an ideal world where we kind of collaborate with the bot and make our lives easier, and also do something more productive, do something more impactful, work with the clients, do business problems. A lot of times, like before I close, it's almost done, a lot of time people ask that what will happen to my job. So given that this is obviously reducing the job of 10 people, so what would those 10 people do? What analogy I provide is, nowadays it's easy to do, say, interstate travel or maybe inter-country travel. There would be a time where we might have interplanetary travel. We might be going to the moon just to do vacation. We might go to separate planets to do vacation. So you have to be a visionary. For those kinds of times, we need people to be more productive. We need people to be doing things which are more than just copy pasting and going through details. So for us to achieve those kind of aspirations, we need to go get away from these monotonous tasks and do something more productive for the entire civilization. So that is, with that I'll close my speech. Thank you everyone. It was great interaction with you. Yeah, if anyone has any questions.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just giving you the example of bill of material. See, I have to check bill of material of many vendors for an audit. So, আমি sample করেছি 3-4 vendor select করেছি, but that person has say 10 invoices during that year, which is based on the bill of material. So, logic can be built in that to check the bill of material. His he has worked for so much, say 90%. The logic of payment is like that if he has worked for 90% of the bill of material, then he will be getting paid. So these kind of logic can be built in.
So just ask yourself, how do you do it currently? What do you do? Maybe open a PDF, you go through the data.
পুরো মানে
যেটা আপনি
ম্যানুয়ালি
করছেন,
দেখি
যেটা ম্যানুয়ালি করছেন ওই সেম ম্যানুয়াল জিনিসটাকে অটোমেশনে কনভার্ট করতে হবে। ইট ইজ সেম থিং। আপনি শুধু যেটা করছেন ম্যানুয়ালি
drag and drop
ট্র্যাক
process
করছেন, দেখছেন, কিছু তো আপনি যেটা দেখছেন কিছু তো বেসিসে আপনি
so all those things are there.
everything can be automated. And I feel like 90% of what we do on a day-to-day task can be automated. It's only the thoughtful task, the thing that requires very intuitive judgment. কি মানে এটা আমার এক্সপিরিয়েন্স থেকে আমি অনেক দিন ধরে এই ফিল্ডে আছি, সেখান থেকেই আমি শুধু জানি, আরেকজন সেটা জানেন না, সেই জিনিসের জন্যই শুধু আমাদের কাজে লাগবে। বাকি সব কাজ অটোমেট করে দেওয়া সম্ভব এখনের টেকনোলজি।
Even the sampling can be done.
এখন স্যাম্পলিং হয় না, এখন ফুল পপুলেশন। এখন একটা বট আপনার জন্য 24 ঘন্টা কন্টিনিউয়াসলি কাজ করতে পারবে।
There is no sampling.
আগে
Correct.
লোকজনের টাইম লিমিট ছিল, লোকজনের ইয়ে ছিল, এখন 100% there is no sampling
No
concept.
sampling. Right. An exception bar kore ana. On the entire population I run it, it will give me the exception based on my parameters.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. Very good.
I hope this was a
Yeah, this was very good.
Very
Can we have a louder applause, please? Knowing is one thing, but seeing is believing. And today, Sayan, Abhishek, you have given everybody food for thought on how they should proceed. It has changed the views of a lot of people here, myself included. And with that, we all thank you. And I call upon Tapas sir to present a memento to Abhishek and Sayan. Subrata sir.
অবশ্যই এটা ইম্পর্টেন্ট আছে আপনাকে
আচ্ছা আমি এটা রাখছি
আপনি তো পড়ালেন
চলো দাদা আসছি
thank you to Shubhrata sir for giving me the opportunity to
he is always
present in this forum. It was very supportive.
Tapas sir, please present a memento to Abhishek.
ওটা আমি বলে রেখেছিলাম
আপনি তো